Hey guys, this is GamerCow. Welcome to another Duelyst video from the Unearthed Prophecy expansion. This is once again another Songhai deck, using Reaver this time. We are focusing on the main spell that I pulled, the epic spell that I pulled like 5 or 6 copies of in the expansion opening video, Firestorm Mantra. I did not like this card when I looked at the set as a whole. When this card was first revealed, I really didn't like it, but given how many of them I pulled, like I wasn't ever going to craft this, but since I pulled a playset, I'm like, well, let's just give this a shot. So, Firestorm Mantra for 6 mana steals twice as much health from the enemy general as the number of spells you've played this turn. So that means that if you just play it by itself, it's a 6 mana steal 2 health from the enemy general and give it to yours. So you heal for 2, they take 2 damage. But if you can get a lot of spell procs to go with this, you can steal like 8, 10, maybe even 12 if you've got like stupid stuff going. Not entirely sure how you would manage that, but you could do a lot of damage with this. And it can kind of become a combo piece spiral technique, where you do 8 damage to anything, but it's strictly to the general in this case. It's interesting. I'm not entirely sure it is consistent, but the game that I had with this was a lot of fun and definitely worth showing off. So, the idea with this then is to use a whole bunch of cheap spells and to discount those spells even further by the use of Mana Forger, so you can make your first spell cost 1 less for the turn, or more importantly, Adjudicator. You really want to try and get an Adjudicator to land on Firestorm Mantra, because that way you turn it from a 6 cost card to a 5 cost, and that suddenly makes it a lot more comboable, because you can use it with your Bloodbound spell, you can use it with stuff like Gotatsu, Ghost Lightning. You can use Ghost Lightning even if the opponent doesn't have a minion on the board, so you can just use it as a spell proc, which is good. Phoenix Fire can get discounted, so you can start using 3, 4, 5 of these cards in one turn. I could have used stuff like Inner Focus too, but that's board dependent, so, you know, stuff like the Inner Focus there, or, I mean, Joseki could be kind of a thing, but the other Songhai spells are mostly board dependent. Obscuring Blow doesn't really fit this deck, so there's not really much point in playing that. Mistwalking doesn't really work out too well. Spiral Counter depends on the opponent attacking you and surviving last turn, so yeah, you're not likely to get too many procs off of that, and Joseki's just a bit too mimetic for me. I could play Mana Vortex. That is one of the only things I'm sort of thinking out of this, and I might try and fit it in at some stage, but for now it's mostly about keeping the other spell stuff there. But it should be noted that Mana Vortex and Firestorm Mantra would be a 5 mana Siphon 4 health, so I think I should put this in. It's just going to be hard to actually fit. The other stuff we got here, Crescent Spear seems obvious because we've got a lot of spells that do a little bit of damage. So, you know, Phoenix Fire is really good with it. Gotatsu actually can start clearing minions if you have a couple of Crescent Spears down. Ghost Lightning is really good AoE when you've got that in play. We've got Scroll Bandit and Mind Cage Oni. I think I'm going to be playing these in a lot of decks here. Scroll Bandit's a bit less useful in this one. Maybe Lantern Fox would be better here. But I wanted to have the 9 2-drop stuff. I could take these out for Foxes though, and try that out instead, because stealing the spell is great, but Lantern Fox would provide a little bit more power towards the mantra, because you're dealing more damage in the turn. So this is more just because it's a good card, rather than because it synergizes so much. Stealing opponent spells is nice though. Zoe is good because even though you get a random spell off of it, it is discounted, and a lot of Songhai spells are quite cheap and you can just fit them in anywhere, so that can work out pretty well. Yeah, Heaven's Eclipse for drawing spells, this is obviously going to be really good. Onyx Bear Seal just because you need some transform against really nasty provokes and other answer or die cards. And the one Spiral Technique finisher because I had a spare slot and thinking, well, if I can't get the kill with Mantra, I can probably get them down to 8 or less health. And Spiral Technique synergizes well with Adjudicator, so it can be discounted. Of course, Crescent Spear works quite well with it too, just to buff the damage a little bit. So yeah, other than that, it's the only other card that's interesting is the new Rokadoptera This gives you a 0 mana deal 1 damage to an enemy spell. You can use it on a general too, I didn't actually realize that at the time, so that's pretty good. You can use this to go face, and even though it's only a 2-3, it does mean that you have a 0 cost spell, so that synergizes well with the mantra. So yeah, overall it's a very interesting style of deck. It's not quite the same sort of thing that I usually look at, but I guess it's just a different sort of combo-y Songhai thing. So let's have a look at the game that we played, and this was against Cassiva, and against somebody who has a lot of Songhai ribbons too, so a long time Cassiva player here. And yeah, no, it's interesting trying to think of what to replace in this deck though, because you want a lot of spells for Adjudicator to discount, but at the same time it's like, well, I kind of need some stuff for the board, so it probably looked weird replacing Onyx Bear Seal and Phoenix Fire there, but I want to try and draw into Firestorm Mantra as quick as possible, because I want to be discounting that with Adjudicator. So that's really what I'm looking at here. Playing the Zoe in this position, again, probably looks a little bit weird, because why not put it in the center tile and it can move in? Well, the main reason is that if Ooze gets, I guess if Ooze gets placed on the center tile, then you hit it anyway, but it just made a bit more sense for me to move it here, because then I could actually just go straight to the tile with it. I don't know, I didn't feel like it was a good idea to move it in the center. Anyway, that Phantasm card buffs enemy minions in the hand whenever I summon something, so just being able to Crescent Spear Gotatsu it to take it out. If the opponent played a 3 health minion there, then I could have just double Crescent Spear Gotatsu, but I didn't want to waste that. So that's fine. Anyway, we get to walk on the tile, which is pretty good. Because this has 3 health, it does actually survive the encounter. And I kept a second Crescent Spear in hand, so double Crescent Spear Phoenix Fire will take out the Spelljammer. Really don't like Spelljammers apparently, because yeah. The Mind Cage Oni is pretty good being played on the tile here, because the Zoe is protecting it. There's no way that my opponent can actually reach this to knock it out as well, so that's pretty good. And yeah, we're sitting at a pretty buffed general here as well. I definitely feel like drawing my Crescent Spears early this game was a big help. And yep, Sphere of Darkness is going to get played just to weaken me down a bit here, but this triggers the Sentry, so now I have a Sphere of Darkness in hand, and that is really good for Songhai. Like, Abyssian does play a lot of cheap spells as well. They play stuff like the Punish, they've got Demonic Lure, they've got their Bloodborne spell is used a lot. You can imagine against Lilith getting her Shadow Spawn would be pretty good. And yeah, that's a very nice thing. Mind Cage Oni is really good against Abyssian too. In fact, it's pretty much good against everyone, except maybe Magmar, but even Magmar I imagine you'd be still wanting to have this. So now we get to play the Rokadoptera, which will give us the Boulder Hurl, so I can have a 0 mana, deal 3 damage basically to the Shadow Sister Kalino. Thankfully that is not 5 health anymore, so I can make that work pretty well. And I kind of just decide to capitalize on my stuff here. I can play Sphere of Darkness and Saberspine Seal. Seems a little bit off considering I want to keep these around, but Saberspine Seal from Zoe just gives me 7 damage on face here, and 1 more damage off of the tile that I placed under my opponent. So it just kind of seemed worth it, you know? Just get a big swing in the mid-game here, because that puts pressure on my opponent. They have to take another 5 damage effectively because of the tile underneath them to clear out my spears. And I've already done quite a lot of damage with it here, so that's good. My next turn's looking a little bit underpowered though, and especially with a Phantasm down here, it's like I don't really want to play too many minions here. I really want to play the Adjudicator so I can discount my Heaven's Eclipse, but at the same time, if I do that, I'm probably going to have to play Mana Forger down as well, and that's going to give this thing too much power. Really don't want that to happen. So yeah, I'm thinking it's 7 mana next turn. My opponent's probably keeping the Spectral Revenant in hand. If I summon too many minions, then it's going to get buffed by the Phantasm, and it's going to be really painful. Do not want. So I can't kill it this turn, so I'm just going to bait out an attack here by, I think I put the Mana Forger down that discounts Heaven's Eclipse to 4 mana, and then I play that as my thing here. That does leave Mind Cage Oni in a place where it can't siphon any spells, but it's the 7 mana turn, and Abyssian, like, always, without fail, plays Spectral Revenant on 7 mana. Like, you are almost always going to see that. So, I don't feel like my opponent is actually going to play any spells next turn, so having a full hand actually isn't going to be too detrimental. I draw a really good set of cards there too. Double Onyx Bear Seal is really good for whatever my opponent could put down, and then Ghost Lightning just cleans that up fairly nicely with the Gotatsu here. So very nice set of cards there to pull. We do see the Spectral Revenant, as I sort of expected, and yeah, not that fun, but hey, that's Spectral Revenant for you. The nice thing is though, because I have a lot of health still, the Spectral Revenant isn't going to kill me immediately. It isn't going to just destroy me for having it out, so I can use it here. I maybe should have played the Adjudicator first, but it didn't really matter. I was going to be floating the mana anyway, and I do need to put Adjudicator down before I play my spells here so that I can actually discount stuff enough. Because I can clear out the Phantasm once I have discounted these to 0 mana. Ideally we would have a Firestorm Mantra here to discount as well. Didn't get it, unlucky, but what can you do? We're mostly just trying to work down to get my opponent to enough health, enough of a health loss, I should say, so that the mantra can effectively get the kill, or get close to it if it doesn't actually kill. So the last mana gets spent on putting the Heartseeker on the board, which is okay. The Heartseeker could, work with a ping here. We finally draw the mantra, which is good. I still have one Adjudicator left, so that's nice. We'll actually get a double discount on the OBS here too, which is good. Now, I know what my opponent was going for off of this, but I feel like this was a bit of a misstep, because, well, especially, I don't know, the way around, this turn was weirdly ordered, because I think my opponent didn't draw quite what they were hoping to see here, because I think they would have loved to have had, I don't know, Kalino or something out of that, but it just seems a bit weird that you would use the 2 spells on the Oni there, rather than using them on other stuff. I mean, I could have overdrawn, and maybe the ordering of that could have been a little bit better. It's really weird working around stuff like steals your cards, right? It's something that people are going to get better at as we go along. But for now, it's a case of I get a 5-spell discount, or 4-spell discount there is really, really strong. And I decide, since this didn't trigger on the minion summon, to go for the spell off of it. Didn't trigger on the spell either, so this is the one, the Sentinel that reduces your general attack if they actually hit it, and so I just don't attack with a general. That's fine. I was willing to give up the other cards for it, like if it was Bound Tormentor, then Adjudicator is not the worst of minions that I could give my opponent. If it was the other one, the one that gives you a 4/4 Fiend in hand, well, that's fine. I plan on killing my opponent next turn anyway, so it's whatever. I could deal with that. Put the Fog down here just to disrupt the other Fog. I don't want it attacking me really, and I just don't want it in the way. Squirrel Bandit there again, just kind of putting stuff down so that it gets in the way of my opponent here. And our Fog gives us another Fog. Oh man, such awesomeness. So here is that Kalino that I imagine my opponent would have wanted last turn. Abyssal Scar is quite good here because it does let her take out the stuff. I could have put this Heartseeker over here, but at the same time it's kind of luring my opponent into hitting it instead. And the Ephemeral Shroud's actually really good here. Thinking that it got buffed once by the Phantasm, but it's really good because it gets rid of my backstab. And that almost was enough to seal the game here. But when you look at what we actually have the combo here. We're at 9 mana, we can play the 1 mana OBS to get rid of the Kalino so it doesn't heal her anymore, and we've got discounted spells here with the Abyssal Scar. So we're going to play 4 spells this turn, and still have some mana spare actually. It's kind of ridiculous. But we get the Abyssal Scar, that's our 3rd spell. Firestorm Mantra is the 4th spell, so this will siphon 8 health here. Put her down to 4, put me at like 23, and because of the 1 ranged unit we have here, we have just enough stuff on board to take lethal in this turn. And that is really cool. I had never expected this deck would actually work, to be totally honest with you. And I could see it being really weak against high health decks, like really high health minion stuff. There's a few things I'd like to put in here. I'd like to put Loreweaver in if I could, because I feel like Gotatsu is very strong if you can use Loreweaver with it to, you know, get more draws. And I definitely say Mana Vortex is one that I would like to play. I just don't know how I would fit this stuff in. But it's a very good, like, first shot there, I think. It's a really fun deck. And again, we've got Spiral Technique as a finisher just in case the other stuff doesn't work. So, I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun. So, hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Thank you very much for watching. This has been GamerCal. And until next time, where we try a different Songhai deck with an entirely different approach, yeah, enjoy. Take care.